Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, publisher of Aspire Magazine, Mindset Elevation Coach, Intentional Living Guide, and a woman living her passion, bringing you the feminine wisdom from leading luminaries who will help you elevate your life, open your mind, and heal your heart. And today we're talking with Robin Fitzsimons, and we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite subjects, and that is angels and divine guidance and all those yummy things. Because I don't know if you realize that you are always divinely supported, and you can connect with the angels and archangels to support you on your path. And we'll be talking more about that in this episode. Robin is the founder of Wellness with Robin in Platteville, Wisconsin. She's an intuitive healer, teacher, coach, certified as a Reiki master, and as well as in silent counseling. She offers services like Reiki, angel readings, past life healing, soul recovery, and silent counseling, along with teaching numerous classes, both in person and online. And I got to tell you, you want to check out the offering she does. I'm always like, oh my God. So go to wellnesswithrobin.com to learn more and to connect with her. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Well, I know it's one of your favorite topics too. You have a lot of courses, classes you've written for Aspire about connecting with the angels. And I just love the work you're doing in the world because the angels have played a big part in my healing journey. So, how I'd like to start is one of the things I noticed after 9 years of doing this show is a lot of times our personal journey leads us to the soul work that we're doing in the world. So, how did you first discover your connection with angels and archangels? And how has it shaped what you're doing today?
Well, way back when I was working corporate, I was a graphic designer, and I had a friend who was going through some training for shamanic practitioner, and I started working with her, doing some journeying and some things like that, just practicing with her, and the angels just started naturally coming to me, and I just started working with them naturally, and it took a few years before I started intentionally working with them and realizing how powerful they were. And I've started using them in everything I do in my work. Every class, every session, the angels are there working with us.
And I've come to believe, and I'm curious if you get this question, Robin. Anyone can connect with the angels, right? It's
Absolutely.
and that's what I remember thinking many years ago when I first started. I'm going back about maybe 28 years. I'm like, I can't do that. She can do that because she's like one of those special people, she has intuitive superpowers. And I believed that for a long time. And then I realized, oh no, they're available to each and every one of us. And actually, they yearn for us to connect with them. So
Mhm.
talk about that a little about um, how we can all create a connection. Is it like intention? Is it practicing? What are some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so many people, so many clients I've seen, a lot of them realize they have angels around them, but they don't realize that they can utilize them to help them with anything in their lives just simply by asking. We have free will, so your angels are all around you all the time, but sometimes we have to, unless it's a life or death situation, we have to ask for help. And it can come through different ways, like tuning into your intuition is helpful because that's how they will give us guidance sometimes. So say you're trying to figure something out and you're trying really hard and you're using all your energy to try and figure it out, and then you just realize that you can ask your angels, and then an idea or some sudden inspiration just pops in your head and you're like, where did that come from? Well, that's your angels. They will give you that guidance and bring those brilliant ideas that we struggle ourselves to find.
And do you notice too, because when you said that, like I feel it as whispers, I call it soul whispers, right? And
Yes.
it's when it's when I let go of trying to make something happen or control something, it could be a work project, it could be, a family issue. I noticed that when I let go
Hmm.
and just say, I just normally say, please give me the answer I'm looking for, but I don't put a timeline on it. It's just like I
Right.
don't know, walk for a walk in nature, and all of a sudden the clearest thought drops in. And
Hmm.
I always look up and go, thank you, because I have no doubt now because
Yes.
of the clarity and how it just plop. That's what it feels like to me.
Yes, absolutely. And different people could get different signs. Some people see angel numbers. Some people see animals, like spirit animals could give you messages. Um, Coins, feathers. There's a lot of different signs that people get. Just it's just trusting, like learning to trust that you're not making it up and that they really are there with you. Or some people just feel like a warmth or a tingling, or they just have a knowing. So part of it, one of the classes I teach is called Awakening Your Intuition, and it's really tuning into all the different ways we can feel and see and hear and sense the guidance around us.
Well, when you said about all the signs, I get just knowings. It drops in and there's no doubt about it. And then I'm a big angel numbers, like I can't just put the microwave on three. I go 3, 3, 3, and Dana's like, "Do you think that 3 seconds is going to make a difference in your heating your heat bag?" I said, "No, but I'm communicating. So even in my car, I set the heat to certain numbers, right?"
Yes.
It's almost like, but here's what I've discovered in my journey with my connection with my divine support team, which of course includes the angels and archangels, is they're real lighthearted. They
Hmm.
love play, they love fun, and they want us to experience more of that in our lives. Have you found it in that kind of energy too, or is that just how I'm receiving it?
Yeah, well, different archangels and different angels have different purposes. So there might be an angel that's helping you stay grounded, but there could be other angels who are helping you be lighthearted and find the joy in your life, and that you bring out your inner child and things like that. So there's all, depending what you're going through or what you need at the time, different angels might come to you.
Yeah, I've always had a deep connection to Archangel Michael. I always feel him around me. But when I'm on big writing projects, I can feel Archangel Gabrielle.
Yeah.
um, that for years, and I don't know if that's because I'm a magazine and book publisher, and those are the two that I connect with the most. But I believe that we all have a divine support team,
Mhm.
and so for those who are saying, what's the difference between angels and archangels, and is there times that we should call on specific ones, or how would
Well,
you answer that?
people ask that all the time, and starting out, I would just say just call on whoever needs to be there because they know their roles and they know who needs to be there. Otherwise, people get caught up on, "Oh, should I call on Michael for this, or should I call on Raphael, or should I call on Uriel, or who, then they get in their heads about who to call on or how to do that. So if you just say, whoever can help me, just please be here. And once you start working with the different archangels, then you kind of get to know who they are and what their roles are and what they do.
Yeah, I like that. It's because I like how you said they know what we need. We
Mm.
just have to ask to receive the guidance. It's
Yeah.
almost like you said we have free will, so it's almost like giving permission
Hmm.
to receive the guidance because they don't want to cross over into our free will. Is that how you would see it?
Yes, absolutely. They're there for us anytime we need them, but they're not gonna just push themselves into our space. And like I said, it's a matter of life and death, and they're protecting us or something like that. Or sometimes they'll give us little nudges or, like intuitive nudges and stuff, but we have to be open to receiving that too. So if you're intentional about asking for help, then you're more open to seeing the signs when they come.
And we're going to go to a break in a moment. When we come back, I want to talk more about the signs, because one of the things when I was first learning is I wasn't seeing them. I was so in my darn head, you know, and just like I was on a hamster wheel. And when I look back, and I can tell you relate, when
Mm-hmm.
I look back at those times, Robin, I'm like, oh my God, I was surrounded by signs, but I was in my little world trying to micromanage the divine. And so give a quick thought on that before we go to break, and then we come back, we'll talk a little more about the signs.
Well, we're so busy doing instead of being that it's easy to miss signs. And then when we overthink and get in our heads, then sometimes even if you know it's a sign, you're doubting it. So it's just learning to sit still once in a while, do some meditation, and um, trust. Really, trust is the biggest thing.
That was a real big one for me.
Mhm.
So, Robin, we're going to take our first break, and my friends will be back talking more about angel signs, divine synchronicities, and more. Stay with us.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
The time is now to deepen your intuition, connect with the archangels, your guides, and own your sacredness so you can live the empowered, inspired life you desire. Intuitive spiritual teacher, healer, and holistic life coach Robin Fitzsimons consciously blends her treasure trove of healing modalities, including Akashic records, Usui Reiki, and silent counseling, along with working with the angelics to support the divine wellness of her clients' body, mind, and spirit. Through her popular online classes and sacred readings, including shadow work, awakening your intuition, channeled angelic guidance, past life healing, soul recovery, and more, Robin brings women deeper into the truth of who they are in a safe and sacred container. She is the founder of Wellness with Robin in Platteville, Wisconsin, where she offers in-person sessions and classes. Learn more at wellnesswithrobin.com. Mission-driven business owners, are you feeling energetically drained? It's time to shift that so you can lead at your highest level. Lee Murphy Wolf, creator of the Calibrate method, has helped hundreds of entrepreneurs create sustainable success. She teaches her clients how to unwind the energetic patterns that affect their flow, tap into their feminine leader energy, and build energetic resilience so they are aligned for the next level of business growth. Lee's unique programs combine the healing frequencies of tuning forks, energy management techniques, and simple business design principles to help you reduce overwhelm, restore vitality, and realign with more ease. Lee offers free energy clearings and tunings twice a week in her free Facebook community, The Balanced Business. Learn more about Lee and her services at leemurphywolf.com.
Consistently attract soulmate clients, begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalind Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your soulgasmic business by tuning in on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Mountain. Join me for your light language activation, and let's magnetize and monetize.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. Today we're talking about divine support, connecting with the angels and archangels, signs and synchronicities, and more with Robin Fitzsimons of wellnesswithrobin.com. So right before the break, Robin, we were talking about some of the signs, and you had mentioned numbers and coins. So what are some of the divine ways our angels may connect with us? Like you shared numbers, but give us an example of like what a number sequence could mean if you know any off the top of your head.
Yeah, so like 111 is about new beginnings. There's all kinds of ways. Like I know you talked about putting those numbers in yourself, but sometimes when angels are trying to communicate with us, I find, like you might see a license plate that says 777, or your odometer has three sevens in a row, or you get a
Mm-hmm.
receipt and it's 999, or different ways that it might pop out to you. So that's them giving you that message, and then you can just go online and just Google angel number 999 and see what that means, and it'll mean something to you.
It's so funny because I have two grandchildren. One will be 25 and the other just turned 13. And so I've been playing with angel numbers for years. So both of them, they'll go, Amma, 333, 444, whatever they see, if it's a license plate. But I
Yeah.
wanted them to
Or you
go,
might wake up and see the clock at 333 or 444.
I do it all the time. And then I go, thank you, I hear you, I see you. I always say thank you when I
Yes.
see numbers all the time. But it's so beautiful to me that they've grown up connected and watching for those signs because I wanted them to have that I don't know, that connection, that deeper connection to all that is.
Yeah.
And so now it's funny when I got the 6 foot tall 25-year-old going, hey, 333, and he sends me screenshots all the time.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so let's talk about synchronicities because um, I think the more we pay attention to them, and as full transparency, Robin just published her soul story in one of my company's books called Divine Synchronicities, Women's Stories of Magic, Miracles, and Manifesting. But synchronicities, I think the more we pay attention, the more we see them, the more we get, and the more we're being led. What's your thought on synchronicities?
Oh, I agree. Sometimes we don't see it in the moment, but when you start to look back, then it's crystal clear. So sometimes people don't realize, they're like, oh, that was just a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidences. Everything is divinely aligned and happens for a reason. So when you start paying attention more, you see more and more synchronicities happening.
And I believe like you do too. I'm not, I don't embrace coincidences. I always look at it as I'm being guided and the
Yes,
sign is coming to show me I'm on the right path. Or sometimes it'll give me a nudge that I'm going on the wrong path, right?
right.
But I always see it as like spiritual guideposts, showing up on my path, whether it's a person that suddenly appears in my life or a message or an opportunity. I I think they're coming from the divine.
Absolutely. People are sent in our path all the time, or a book falls off a shelf, or, like there's so many different ways signs can come to you.
And in one of the other ones, and I don't play with this as much as I have a lot of friends that animals
Mm-hmm.
big, like dragonflies for me, and butterflies, yes. But I have some friends that like they know the meaning and they're really connected with the animals. So birds, butterflies, other animals are also signs. Like when we see them, what, repetitively?
Well, there's a couple things I believe with that. So sometimes people's loved ones could show up as an animal. Like I have a friend whose grandpa, when after he passed, she knew when she saw an eagle that was him. But we also have spirit animals that can show up for us and give us signs, and they're kind of like angels. It's more in the shamanic world, but um, a lot of animals, the traits of that animal mean something with the message for them. So I live in Southwest Wisconsin, so I see a lot of animals, but it's when something like I saw an eagle flying along with my car. So it's something that stands out to you and you're like, okay, I need to look that up. I need to see what that means. And then when you look it up, it has a lot of meaning. It's like pulling an oracle card or a tarot card. Like it gives you a message for that day.
That's beautiful. So each animal carries its own energy and message. And
Yes.
sometimes now that you just shared that, sometimes say I was trying to just tap into my own intuition to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple experiences where, like one day I was sitting on the porch and I was trying to decide between my choices, A and B, right? And
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, this little chipmunk came up on the porch. And one of the decisions was about the second choice was about being more playful and fun. It was going to be an experience. And then I see this little chipmunk just having a ball, chasing a leaf. And I'm like, okay,
Uh,
okay. I didn't even have to look it up that day. I just said,
nope.
the chipmunk feels close enough to me that he could enter the porch and he's being silly. I got my answer. That's what you're talking
Yes.
about, right? Being
Yes. Yeah, you can have totem animals or like spirit animals that are with you all the time, and then there are animals that could be giving you messages. So one time, similar to that, I kept seeing a squirrel, and I was like, "Well, okay, what's the squirrel mean?" Well, they're scurrying all the time, and they're busy, 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 and I wasn't taking time for myself. So I had to stop and slow down and take some time.
well, that's a good one. That's a good reminder. One of the other things, um, I've had three spiritual experiences. The first one was like 33 years ago, but at major critical times that I needed mm, extra support. You know, I was going through very difficult times.
Mhm.
3 times, and it was funny, two of them, it was buildings, not a person, but um, complete aura around a building, throbbing, glowing, sparkly. It was teals and blues. And I now personally, I can't describe this. Intellectually, I didn't go, what the hell is that glowing thing around the building? I was so lost that my car just pulled into the building and a complete miracle that transformed my life happened. And I don't want to use this episode to talk about it, but I've asked this question for 30 years. I'm like, how can the building have an aura? And someone just shared with me the other day. She said, Linda, at that time it wasn't an aura, but you were so lost, you couldn't ask for help from your divine support team. And they knew you needed it. So they put that energetic container around that building, which actually led to my next divine healing spot, and to lead me there.
Yes.
So, and then it happened 2 other times about 10 years later. So I look and go, okay, my conscious mind was not able to ask for the help I needed from the divine, from anyone actually. So, what's your thoughts on that? Because I know I've heard of
Oh,
sparkles of light and stuff, but this was a throbbing, almost like an energetic, beautiful essence. Almost like when you watched Avatar and the tree of life was wah, 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 like
oh.
that. It was like,
Yeah. Well, they know what you need to get your attention, and that glow around that building drew you in there. So they, even though we don't always know, they know what we need and they'll do what they need to do to get your attention.
yeah, orbs. I've seen orbs before.
Yes.
Now, what's your thought
Sparkles.
on orbs? Some people think it's your loved ones passed on. I think it could be both, right? I also think,
It can be both. So I think like colored orbs are tend to be archangels. So every archangel has a color associated with them. So like
I
if you're
see
seeing,
teal a lot, teal and almost like a bluey teal.
yeah, so that's Archangel Sandalphon, and he's the angel that helps us connect heaven to earth and earth to heaven. So he
Ooh,
could be helping you connect with your loved ones. And like a deep blue would be Archangel Michael, a deep green is Archangel Raphael, which is heart healing and health. and healing and travel. Those are the three main ones that I usually see. Yellow sometimes too is Archangel Uriel, helps us keep a bright, sunshiny outlook on life. But when I see white, usually that's loved ones or angels instead of archangels.
Okay, I love that because I can still remember. Now, do you see them only when you take photos or while you're out in nature? Like, how do you see them?
I usually see them in photos, very rarely. Clairvoyance is not my strongest intuitive ability, so somebody who is more clairvoyant might see them with the naked eye. Sometimes I do see sparkles or like flashes of light. That's angels, not archangels. They're just letting you know they're around you, supporting you. But yeah, for me personally, mostly in pictures.
Same here. I get the sparkles on the peripheral,
Yes.
and but they're lighter. The reason I asked, and I still remember this experience, my grandson lost his mother suddenly 8 years ago. He was only 16. And on the day of the service, I'll never forget that, eagles were all around her grave, which in the area that they were all shocked because we were like 2 hours away from my home. And it was two. And that was her son, that was her favorite animal.
Oh yeah, that was
That
her.
was one. Oh yeah, that was giving him peace because it was a not a peaceful passing. And then we came back, and everyone in my online and personal community, I had asked for healing prayers for him at a certain time of day. And I was outside in my yard, and the way the sun was coming from the trees, it was such a sacred, beautiful experience that I wanted to capture the light coming from the trees. There was two, a white one, but it was moving. Every photo, you could see it moving, and then the blue. And I knew in that moment, and he knew, she was there and she had crossed over and was protected. And it was such a peaceful moment for me, but also for him.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was. That's one time of many, but that one really um, was deep in my heart. So, Rob, I'm going to take our next break and we'll be back. And ladies, I want to invite you, go visit Robin at wellnesswithrobin.com. When you get there, you're going to notice she has an extraordinary free gift, but she also has extraordinary online courses that are all about this topic and so much more. And of course, if you're in Wisconsin, she also has extraordinary fun classes at her wellness center. So again, that's wellnesswithrobin.com. And we'll be right back.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. Times Radio. IOM FM.
Are you ready to make the second half of your life the best half of your life, my midlife friend? Living a life full of happiness, abundance, and success is possible when you learn strategies to soothe your inner critic, honor your inner wisdom, and that support you to co-create your life from a place of joy and possibility. Don't walk the journey alone. Midlife Transformation Guide, Master Certified Law of Attraction Coach, and Certified Desire Factor Coach, Karen Shire, will passionately support you to uncover and release what no longer lights you up, so you can go from feeling stuck, stressed, and unfulfilled to feeling free, empowered, and eager for the next chapter of your life. Learn more at KarenShireCoaching.com and schedule a complimentary discovery call today.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
To get inside.
each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes.
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in
my
my
shoes.
shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. Times Radio. IOM FM.
You're listening to Inspired Conversations. Welcome back to this divinely inspired conversation. Robin, so I'm having so much fun today because it's one of my favorite topics, and I'm like, okay, what is? So, what for you personally? What are some of the most powerful messages or insights you've received through your angelic connections?
Well, I want to talk about a spirit animal for a second again, because one night I was teaching a class at a friend's shop about spirit animals and totem animals that are our personal animals. And I was driving home, and I was on a back road, so there wasn't a lot of traffic. It was probably 9 o'clock at night, and an owl came down and stopped, like landed right in the road in front of me. And at that time, I didn't know owl was one of my spirit animals. This is 20 years ago. And it just sat there. I stopped the car and it just stared at me. And I said, okay, I'll look up what you mean when I get home, and thanked it. And it flew away. And I went home, and it has a lot to do with past life healing and past life stuff. And that was before I was doing a lot of that. And owl has been with me ever since.
Wow.
So
I love that. That is, but you know what? You could have just said, yeah, get out of the way and drove on. But because you said, oh, I'm willing to receive your message. So that plays a big part, right? The openness to receive the message.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think that message led you into the work you're doing now, past life healing, Reiki, soul recovery? Like, was it?
I think I was already on the path, but it showed me the support that I had, another piece of the support besides angels.
Oh, I love that. And then I'm trying to think if I had any big ones. The little chipmunk was a big one. So what other experiences have you had through angelic connections?
Well, when I was working, this is before I left my corporate job, I had a little sporty car, and it was fun to drive, and I was on my way to work on this back road. I'm careful because we have cows and we have things crossing the roads, but this truck was going really slow ahead of me, and I thought, I'm gonna pass it. And I went to pass it, and something like took over the wheel, and I stayed back, and just up the road I got to the stop sign, and he didn't stop. So if I would have stopped at that stop sign, I know that was a spirit guide or an angel taking over, like making me slow down and not pass when I wanted to, because he went right through the stop sign. He would have run right over my little car. So that was
that's
divine intervention.
Yeah, that is a big one. And for everyone listening, I just want you to sit and put your hand on your heart and just listen and take this in, because sometimes we feel alone in this world, and we're never alone, right? And we have the angels and archangels all around us, a divine support team. And that's the phrase I use, because I have angels, archangels, but I also have a lot of Native American and a couple other people on my divine support team. So I have that question for you, Robin. So we have that, I'll use my phrase, divine support team. So they can be more than just the angels on a divine support team, because every time I have something, they're always like, and I do feel drawn to this. I have a Native American chief that's been there probably 30 years, but recently, white buffalo calf woman showed up 3 years ago, right after I had my emergency surgery. And so how I feel it is, whatever I'm going through, someone steps to the front of the divine support team. So it's almost like, oh, she needs more support on whatever it may be. What's your thoughts, experience, explanation of that?
Yeah, I agree. They come in when they need to. So you might have a certain spirit guide or angel that's there with you for a certain time of your life or a certain incident or moment. And then other things or other, spirit helpers come in at different times. So yeah, I have a shamanic healer guide that helps with healing when I do drumming or past life things, and several other like spirit animals and spirit guides. So there's huge, huge spirit teams that you could have so many different helpers out there.
Yeah, and I can remember once, and it got to be 25 years ago. It was, yeah, maybe 19 years ago, because Aspire was like a year old. And I had a dear friend, and she's at that time was an angel card reader, but she was so spot on. I'd have a birthday reading every year. But I'll never forget, she goes, "Oh, you have someone here with you." And it was an uncle who had passed, right? And this was an uncle that had no relationship with anyone in the family. He was a mean son of a bugger and very wealthy. But I remember her telling me that. I'm like, what the heck is he doing there? Right? And she said, "Well, may I ask you a question?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "He very wealthy?" I go, "Yes, very, but he wasn't the nicest man." And she said, "I'm going to ask you a personal question." And I said, "Sure." She goes, "Are you having trouble financially?" I said, "Well, yeah, Aspire's a year old. We were struggling. I was learning what I was doing." She goes, "That's why he's there." I go, "So he came just," she goes, "They know Lynn." So then he was gone, a year later, like when she did my next birthday reading. But stuff like that, that surprised me. That one surprised me.
Even if he was mean on this side, they go through healing on the other side, and then they see where they missed the boat on learning their lessons and their journey, and they'll come back sometimes to help people.
That's what she explained to me, and then I was more peaceful. But you should have saw my eyes pop open when she said that. But it was so beautiful at the same time, right?
Yes.
Like that's what I'm talking about. We're always divinely supported, and there's so many times I'll make a comment or say something like if I can't make a decision or when I'm driving and the weather's like that. I don't want to be in worrying, fear, and constriction and, be tense. So I go, "You know what, Archangel Michael?" And I just envision a big bubble wrapped around my car.
Yes.
And
I
yeah,
do
the
the
kids
same
know
thing.
too. They're like, "Did you put the bubble around the car?" I go, "Yes, I did." And on
And
top,
isn't it
I
funny? Because when you do that, there's no one ahead of you and no one behind you. It's just like you're by
I'm
yourself.
going to tell you, it is so funny. And then when both the kids, the grandchildren were young, I'd say, "Okay, you get to pick the color of the bubble." And they'd be like, "I want sparkles in it and purple." But the funny thing is, I name my vehicles, and this one's called Namaste. The light in me sees the light in you, because I want my car going down the road being just this big bubble of love and light, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, guys, I am as woo as they come. So, we're going to take our final, no, we got a couple minutes, yay. So, let's see. I know you also do, healing modalities like Reiki and past life healing. So, how does angelic guidance enhance those healing modalities as you're working on someone?
Well, sometimes I call on specific angels. So like past life, Archangel Raziel is the keeper of the Akashic records, so he's always there helping. And Michael helps with cutting cords and releasing past trauma and things like that. Archangel Raphael helps with heart healing and grief. And so I always call on whoever needs to be here for the session to come. But also in sessions, the person's personal loved ones or their own spirit guides or spirit animals or angels show up a lot of times too. And it's part of that is just being open to whoever is needed to be there to do that. Sometimes the person laying there feels them or sees them and I don't, but that's meant for them. So you can't prepare for a session. You just have to be open to whatever comes.
But so it's almost like you're the, I want to say, channel conduit
Yeah, yes.
between them, the
Mhm.
person you're working on, in the higher realms, right? The field that has
Yeah.
all the information.
And sometimes I can feel the angels working through me. So when I first started working with Archangel Raphael, his energy is very hot, and I had to learn to work with him. I had to actually ask him to back off a little because I thought I was going to faint. I was internally heated. I could feel him on my back working through me, and Michael was ahead of me, so the front of me was all cool and the back my back was sweating. And I literally was about ready to pass out, and I had to learn how to work with his vibration because it was so intense at first, but now it's more gentle.
That's beautiful that you've learned to decipher the energies of each one. And that's part of that creating the relationship with each one, right? Just like
Yes.
we do in human form, the deeper the relationship, the more you get to understand the energy. And that's so enthralling to me. I've been a recipient of some beautiful healings over the years, shamanic and angel and past life. It's one of the most sacred gifts you can give yourself, ladies, when you find someone like Robin that their heart is so fully involved in the healing. It's about being a conduit. It's beautiful. And if you've ever considered, please, check out what Robin's doing, but also for yourself, right? It is powerful. It's beautiful too. We're going to take our final break, my friends, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some ways or steps that you can use to invite a relationship and guidance into your life. So we'll be back in a moment. And again, visit Robin at wellnesswithrobin.com. We'll be right back.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Your truest, deepest desires are calling you. The question is, will you answer the call? Former high-tech Fortune 500 leader Sharon Seberg knows how it feels to wear busyness as a badge of honor and to smother her dreams with the expectations of others. Walking away from her successful yet unfulfilling career, she chose to live a life connected to her intuitive wisdom and divine truth, and now lives a life of fulfillment, peace, and abundance. Today, Sharon is a neurotransformational coach, feminine power facilitator, and the visionary founder of the Soul Alignment Formula. She empathetically fuses cutting-edge neuroscience with intuitive coaching, supporting successful women to unlock their full potential so they can live a life of authenticity and freedom. Are you ready to excavate your deepest desires and bring them to life? Start by visiting SharonSeberg.com.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Free your mind with Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back to Inspired Conversations, my friends. I'm Linda Joy, and with me today is Robin Fitzsimons, and we're talking about everything angels, archangels, signs, and synchronicities. So, Robin, for in our last segment, for someone who says, "Oh, I want to either deepen my connection or maybe start the journey with the angels," what are some steps that you would recommend?
Well, the first thing is just being open and asking them to show up for you. And without getting overwhelmed, just choose one at a time. So if you want to start with Archangel Michael, start to work with him, do some meditations. You can find tons of them online. I have some on my YouTube channel at Wellness with Robin. There's so many ways to start to work with them, just simply by asking. You can also use crystals. A lot of times the crystal that is the color of the archangel helps with connecting with them. So a couple crystals that are jumping in my head right now that connect with all angels are celestite. I mean, think about the name of that one, angelite, um, angel aura. Those are great crystals to start helping you connect with your angels by setting them on your nightstand or carrying them with you, keeping them by your desk, wherever you want, wherever you're feeling guided to leave them.
I love that you, and I know you've written articles and have a beautiful gift guide. I love how you teach about incorporating the angels in the work. I'm sorry, the crystals in the work with connecting to the angels. I thought that was so insightful and so helpful because it gives us something physical to anchor to as we connect with the divine.
Yeah, another thing that I usually suggest is doing a meditation, because that sometimes just sitting in silence meditating, people get monkey mind and your thoughts are all over the place. But if you do like an Archangel Michael meditation or a meditation to meet your angels or your spirit guides, it gives you something to listen to, so you're more intentional about it.
That's what I have to do. I'm not one that can just sit in silence, but I love, love, love guided meditations that bring me deeper into whatever the experience is that I desire. And you offer some of those on your website too, and in within some of your programs. And you also, if I'm correct, have them on your YouTube channel?
Yes, Wellness with Robin on YouTube.
Perfect. And ladies, also make sure you go over to Wellness with Robin. Check everything out because she has so much empowering and inspiring content, especially for working with the angels, but so much more. And so, what's one of the things you find most fulfilling about helping others connect with the angelic energies?
Well, for me, it's really about teaching. People ask me sometimes if I'm a medium, and I don't like doing that. I don't like, I shouldn't say I don't like doing that, but I want to empower people to learn how to connect with their loved ones, their angels, their guides, whoever their spirit team is themselves, because it's just more empowering for them to be able to do it than to always have to go to someone to get those messages.
It's so true. I think it's such a gift, and that's why I started my grandchildren so young. I wanted them to know that what they need is within them and above them, but not out there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted them to know. I can remember my grandson who's an empath and a sensitive. He was in the back seat, and this tells you how young I started him. And I, used to practice Reiki. I was a massage therapist and angel card reader and all that when he was young. And one day when they released the latch for the seatbelt, it swung and hit his cousin that was in the back seat. She was like 4, and maybe he was 5. And I heard her, start to cry, and then suddenly she got quiet. So I pulled over and gave him a little talking to about taking off the seatbelt. And then I turn around, Robin, and I go, "What are you doing, babe?" And he says, "I'm sending her healing energy on her elbow." He had his hands over her elbow. That's why they were so quiet.
That's,
And she was just watching, but that's why her tears stopped,
yeah.
right? So I was like, if we can teach them that within them, within each of us, right, is that gift, is that energy, is that connection, I think that is the greatest gift we can give our children and grandchildren.
Yes. I teach Reiki, but I also teach kids Reiki, and it's so much fun to teach kids because when I teach adults, we have to go through the chakras, we have to have a system, you have to, like people feel like they have to know what to do. Kids, we don't even, they just go and start working on somebody, they go right to the spot they need. They know exactly what to do. They haven't lost that intuitiveness at that age, so they're just
That,
natural.
that's how I would describe what he did because I had never, like, I would give him Reiki,
Uh-huh.
but it's not like I ever said, well, if someone gets hurt, you do this. You know what I mean? Because he was so
Yeah.
young. To
Yes.
see him organically know to do it is what blew me away.
Yeah, that's
And
beautiful.
that's when then when our second grandchild came a decade later, I was like, and then I taught her even when she was little, they moved to a new home. And you know how that is for a young one. She was 4. And I wanted to feel like, she loved her new bedroom, but, it was a little like, but when I shut off the lights. So I taught her a whole Archangel Michael bedtime ritual. And that was it. After times doing that, and she's 13 now, and she doesn't do it. She said she doesn't do it as often, but if she has a rough night, she calls it in.
Yeah, I make an Archangel Michael spray too with essential oils with scents that are help call in the archangels, and then I put some soda-like crystals, like crystal chips in the spray. So kids love that too. So you can spray it around their room, and it's essential oil, so it's not toxic, and it helps them create a boundary and protection for themselves.
That's beautiful. So it's an Archangel spray. Is that available on your website or only in your retail store?
It's in my retail store, but if you go to my Facebook page, you can find it.
Oh, perfect. And I just wanted to make sure our listeners knew how to reach you, and that's wellnesswithrobin.com. So is there a particular angel, this is a personal question, I'm curious, that you always turn to, or does it just go by the situation and you intuitively connect? Like I was saying earlier, mine is, for whatever reason, Archangel Michael is really strong all the time in my energy field. Do you have that experience of a certain one?
I connect well, I guess it's changed over the years because I used to connect with Michael a lot. And now that I do a lot more with past life stuff, I connect with Archangel Raziel a lot, but it kind of changes day to day because I work with so many different people and it depends what they're going on, what they have going on. So different angels will come in different days for different people. And it's funny because it kind of cycles. Like if I have one person do past life healing, I have 3. It's never just one. It kind of cycles that way. Or if I have one person do silent counseling, there's usually 3. So it kind of like the sessions also take on the energy of the angel of the zodiac. So if it's Archangel Azrael, like last month, Azrael was in charge. That was his with Capricorn. He's the angel of transitions and death and dying, and a lot of people going through transitions just naturally came in. So it's like that energy just draws them for that healing at that time.
That's powerful. And I want to make sure I mention this too as we're coming closer to the close. The majority of your healings, like soul recovery, past life healing, angel readings, silent counseling, can each of those be done virtually in case someone's listening now, or only in person? I know you do quite a bit virtually, so just clarify for anyone listening, which ones are available as virtual appointments?
They can all be done virtually, everything, especially with the help of the angels. Like Reiki can be sent distantly.
Yes.
It's just as powerful. I would just suggest if you're doing it virtually that you're available and ready to have that downtime, just like you are in person, so that you're aware and you're feeling everything. But yeah, everything can be done virtually, and especially with the angels helping, they're right there with you for the whole session.
It's beautiful because I have no doubt that they're listening and wondering what was virtual and what was at your Wellness with Robin location. So any message as we come to a close that you want to leave our listeners with about their connection to the angels and archangels?
Well, just be open to being aware and just ask who they are if you're not sure. Start paying attention to feeling. You might feel touches, or you might feel warmth, or you might feel tingles, or you might see sparkles, or all those different signs. But it's really about awareness and asking for the signs, and then not trying too hard, because when we try too hard, then we kind of block it and miss the signs or doubt the signs.
I love that. And as a former micromanager of the divine, control freak, I can relate to how it can close us right off. So that was a beautiful message. And I want to thank you for being here with me today, Robin. I always love circling up with you, my friend.
Same here.
And I want to invite everyone again, visit wellnesswithrobin.com. Until next time, my friends, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness. Blessings.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.